Since the 21st century, scholars including Qing Hui, Liu Qing, and Jian Yongxiang have systematically mapped the full lineage of Scottish conservatism, comparing it with Confucian ideals of the mean, preservation, and practical governance to explore a gradual modernization path suited to China. Liu Qing observed in lectures on modern Western thought, Scottish conservatism provides a critical reference for Chinese academia. Modernization does not require radical revolution. Gradual reform and institutional innovation rooted in tradition may better suit a late developing country with a long history and complex social structure. The ideas of Yang Du and Zhang Jian align closely with Scottish conservatism. Their practice proves that gradual reform delivers development amid stability. Qian Yongxiang added in conservatism and modernity. The conservatism of Scottish conservatism is not retrograde resistance to change, but the preservation of core civilizational values and social order, with change achieved incrementally. This idea remains highly relevant to the modernization of China's state governance today. Darwin 的生物进化论被严复选择性误读，并通过 Thomas Huxley 的进化与伦理本土化 (EV) or eleve into social Darwinism in modern China. ITS influence endured from the late Qing to the present, a classic case of utilitarian misreading of Western thought in China. Darwin's evolutionism was originally a scientific hypothesis centered on the natural law of natural selection and survival of the fittest. 在 evolution and ethics 中 Huxley 严格区分了 cosmic process and the ethical process explicitly rejecting the application of jungle law to human society. Yet to serve the political mobilization of national salvation, Yanfu deliberately downplayed Huxley's ethical constraints in his translation, emphasizing the competitive core of natural selection and survival of the fittest, and applying it directly to nations, races, and societies to construct a Chinese variant of social Darwinism. This misreading exerted a profound modern impact. In the late Qing, social Darwinism became an ideological weapon for national salvation, embedding the notion that backwardness leads to being beaten and driving a series of reforms including the self-strengthening movement, the 100 Days Reform, and the 1911 Revolution. Yet it also provided theoretical legitimacy for radical revolution, anti-traditionalism, and power prioritization, intensifying collective anxiety that failure to change means extinction, and slow change also means extinction, and fueling choices of total westernization, violent revolution, and elite governance. Luo Zetian commented in Thought and Society in Modern China, social Darwinism plunged modern China into a competitive anxiety. To survive international competition, Chinese elites adopted the most radical reform path, ignoring societal capacity and traditional continuity. The influence of social Darwinism did not fade with the fall of the Qing. IT permeated the fabric of Chinese society and endures today. Socially, a utilitarian mindset of competition supremacy, success worship, and neglect for the weak dominates public perception, closely linked to phenomena such as educational involution, workplace wolf culture, and divergent views on wealth inequality. In institutional discourse, strength and weakness often replace right and wrong. Victory and defeat substitute for fairness. Rational debate yields to power worship, and justice and humanistic care are overlooked. Internationally, the warning that backwardness leads to being beaten has devolved into the logic that might makes right, shaping public attitudes toward foreign policy. Liu Qing evaluated in The Origins of Modern Chinese Thought, Yanfu's misreading of evolutionism was an inevitable outcome of national salvation, overwhelming enlightenment in modern China. IT powered China's modernization but also deprived it of Huxley's humanistic ethics, trapping it in a century of competitive anxiety that still demands reflection and correction. Liangqichao, the profound reflection on World War I marked a pivotal shift in modern China's understanding of Western civilization. Before the war, Liang Qichao had been an ardent admirer of Western civilization, viewing Western democracy, science, and industrial civilization as humanity's ultimate ideal and advocating China's full westernization. The brutal reality of WWI upended his perception. After touring Europe in 1919, he recorded his deep reflections in Impressions of Travels in Europe. He described post-war Europe. The battlefields are strewn with corpses, cities lie in ruins, and people are displaced. Once prosperous Europe has become a living hell. The democracy, freedom, and peace touted by Western civilization crumble before war, and the fruits of industrial civilization have become tools of slaughter. 梁启超剖析了西方文明的核心缺陷，西方文明的根本问题是过分强调物质主义和权力逻辑，而忽视了精神文明和道德伦理。Darwin 的 evolutionism 被误读为 social Darwinism， 使得 the law of the jungle and survival of the fittest 成为国际社会的 governing norm. Powers wage wars and trample human rights to compete for interests. For all its sophistication, Western democracy became a driver of war under the impact of nationalism and militarism. This shows Western civilization is not perfect, it suffers from severe defects and crises. Based on this reflection, he proposed the integration of Chinese and Western civilizations. China should neither blindly worship Western civilization nor cling to traditional civilization. Instead, it should draw on the strengths of both to compensate for each other's weaknesses. China should learn from Western material civilization and scientific spirit, while Chinese traditional moral ethics and humanistic spirit can remedy Western flaws. The future of human civilization will inevitably be a fusion of Chinese and Western civilizations. Liang Qichao's reflection resonated widely in modern China, driving the intellectual shift from total westernization to Sino-Western integration. Xiao Gongquan commented in A History of Chinese Political Thought. Liang Qichao's reflection on WWI marked a critical turning point in modern China's understanding of Western civilization. It shattered the myth of Western perfection, prompting Chinese elites to view Western civilization rationally and critically while revaluing traditional Chinese civilization, laying the ideological groundwork for the subsequent New Culture movement and Sino-Western cultural debates. Qinghui added, Liang Qichao's reflection did not reject Western civilization, but advocated selective learning and civilizational complementarity. This idea remains vital today, reminding us that in modernization we must learn from Western advances while upholding our cultural roots, achieving organic integration of foreign civilization and native tradition. 第4章，列强对华双重性与中国的主权博弈。Chapter 4. The dual nature of great power policy toward China and China's sovereign struggle. Japan's dual-face policy toward China epitomized modern great power interactions with China. Liu Jingzhong offered a precise assessment in A History of Japan's China Policy. Japan always wore the moral mask of Asian solidarity and East Asian amity while pursuing the geopolitical expansion of its continental policy. Assisting China's reform and invading China went hand in hand, all serving its national self-interest strategy. This duality defined modern Sino-Japanese relations, exerting a complex and far-reaching impact on China's modernization. As a conduit of civilizational input, Japan became a critical springboard for late Qing modernization. China's crushing defeat in the 1895 Sino-Japanese War shocked the Qing court into realizing that Japan's victory stemmed not just from military hardware but from institutional superiority. The Qing thereafter made Japan its core model, sending waves of students to Japan peaking at nearly 10,000. Political, military, and cultural elites including Lu Xun, Zhou Enlai, Chiang Kai-shek, Chen Duxiu, Li Dazhao, Kai Yi, and Jiang Baili emerged from this group. These students brought back Western ideas of democracy, science, and revolution, as well as Japan's military systems, education frameworks, and industrial technologies. The Tongmenghui Revolutionary Alliance was founded in Tokyo in 1905年, serving as the overseas headquarters of the 1911年 Revolution. Japanese civilian activists such as Miyazaki Toten and Inukai Tsuyoshi long funded and sheltered revolutionaries, providing vital support for the uprising. The late Qing new policies borrowed heavily from Japan in constitutional, military, police, and education systems. The new army was modeled on the Imperial Japanese Army, and the Baoding Military Academy was led by Japanese instructors, advancing China's modernization. Yet Japan's assistance to China's reform was always a tool of continental expansion. IT's aggressive ambitions never abated. After the 1895 Sino-Japanese War, Japan forced the Qing to sign the Treaty of Shimonoseki, seizing Taiwan and the Penghu Islands, extorting huge reparations, and gaining the right to build factories in Chinese treaty ports. Following the 1905 Russo-Japanese War, Japan replaced Russia's privileges in northeast China and gradually tightened control. During the 1911 revolution, Japan secretly supported the Manchurian-Mongolian independence movement to partition China.